What's up, everybody? Got another good topic for you. So, wait till y'all come in and I do the little group share. There we go. What's up, Jasmine? Yeah, a little bit more time to get in and then I'll be ready to go. Alright. Let me see here. Yeah, about another 30 seconds to come on in. Alright, let's begin. Now my topic today is who is the devil and the Islamic legend of the Dajjal, which means Antichrist. So, there's been big discussions on who this character is called the devil. Now there's an occult side, magical side, and then there's a more physical side to the equation, like always. I'll start with the occult side, get that over with. The devil in occult science is your lower self, your lower energies, your primal forces that you have yet to harness and ascend up to your higher self. So you talking about your raw survival instincts, your passions, your willpower to fight through this physical plane, and those are your lower chakras. This is what we call the devil in occult science. The passions, the fire of this fallen one that you raise back up to your higher self, your crown. You regenerate the energies of your inner self. This is what we call the devil. You see what I'm saying? It's just their raw, untamed power that you haven't tapped into yet, that you haven't fully harnessed yet, and it's just all over the place, running rampant. Think the werewolf in most of the horror genre. The werewolf represent their lower self. The werewolf would be considered the devil in horror genre to occultists, because he's just running rampant. He just off the chain. He just doing all type of crazy shit, and he don't have no sense of reason or purpose with his energy. They're just going around fucking shit up for the most part. That's how we look at the lower self, or what we call the devil in occult science. It's all about once you come into your knowledge and you start doing your meditations and you start tapping into your inner self through the breath work, through tapping into your chakras and opening them up, you start to rise from that root chakra, which is your base foundational physical self, on up through your sacra, on up through your solar plexus, heart, throat, first eye, and then crown. And once you reach your crown chakra, which is represented by your pineal gland, then your energies explode and fuse with your higher self. And your higher self descend into the physical body, and it fuses with your lower self, and it becomes one. The devil also represents your physical body, and it's also the devil and sin in the Bible. The sin is the physical body, and the devil is the raw force that you have yet to harness that is in the physical body. You see what I'm saying? So those are the occultist metaphysical ways of looking at it. So when you had that Kundalini awakening, when you arouse those fires inside of you, when you summon that Jed force up your spine, then things when you summon that, start to rise that Jed force up your spine, that Kundalini force, you begin to unlock these doorways. You begin to harness this devil's energies and be able to use it for higher purposes instead of just lower purposes, just corroding the reality around you, like the werewolves does in the movies. you're able to harness those raw energies, primal energies, to do what you need to do on your soul journey and soul path. So that's the occult science, that's the metaphysical science, and we will be touching back on that again. But let's talk about the physical side. So so this can make more sense. Alright, I'm gonna look at Ephesians chapter 6, verse 10 through, I said, 18. And it says here, we talking about the armor of God now. Finally, be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power. Put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. Okay, so there you go. There you know that we talking about our outside force, outer influence now. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, which means your physical body is not necessarily the enemy, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realm. Now, this is what they mean by, this is the best verse I could find on the description of the devil. What's up, Simeon? This is the best description I can find on, like, description of what this devil is doing, or this adversarial force is doing. It says here, for our struggle is not against the flesh, because our physical body is just our avatar, our biosuit, or our biointelligence that we're operating in while we're incarnated down here to do our soul work and the work of the Creator. But we struggle against the rulers, against the authorities, and against the powers of this dark world. So they telling you these are very real entities out there that's attacking us. You see what I'm saying? These are very real beings who out here in our outer world trying to keep us locked down, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. So here we are. Let's break it down. We got the rulers. So they telling you right now, and the authorities. So the rulers is our governmental system, and the authorities is the law enforcement and everything like that. Judges and the whole legal system. That's usually what we mean by authorities on this planet. So we gonna look at how we have corrupt leaders, we have corrupt law enforcement, stuff like that, and how they're playing their role in the degeneration of society. You see what I'm saying? Taking bribes, illegal arrests, police brutality, bad political leadership, stuff like that. You see what I'm saying? This is what we mean by those rulers and authorities. Now, this is just the physical. This is just our society that we living in now, not the devil within. Because the other part of this video says hashtag know thy environment, know thy battleground. You got an internal battleground, which you got to go in there and deal with your own arcanic, your own arcanic dark energies, those traumas, those baggages, those thought forms that you need to cleanse out of you, out of your heart and out of your mind. And then you got the external battlefield, the world around you, whether this is an illusion or not. You still can see the suffering of the world. You see what I'm saying? You still can see what's going on around here. You still can see, like, damn, this shit here fucked up. What is happening here? So this is what we mean. This is what we mean by rulers and against the authorities. This is what we mean. So these two battlegrounds, the inner battleground, the inner war, the internal war, and the external war, the external battleground, which is on earth, which is happening now, cause we know we in the period of what we call revelations, and shit is gotten real. You see what I'm saying? Cause we at the end of the cycle, the end of the last days. So, with that being said, we gonna go next. Is we struggle against the powers of this dark world and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realm. So there are beings which we call archons. These archonic beings have been ruling the world for some time, and they're very deadly. They're very deadly entities. You see what I'm saying? They have very deadly energies, and when you vibrate on fear, malice, frustration, hate, and rage, then they can easily possess you. You see what I'm saying? And corrupt you in some shape, form, or fashion. And you may not even be paying attention to it. Just be they may attack your subconscious and just have you attacking people that you ain't even supposed to be attacking. They ain't did nothing to you. You see what I'm saying? They got you in their moment while you was on their frequency, while you was on that vibrating in their domain, in their realm. So this is what they talking about. And against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Of course, there's the physical realm, and then there's the spiritual, astral, soul realms and stuff like that. There's other realms besides this dimension here. So you talking about you dealing with those dark forces there, which are the primary forces who affect the physical. You can see them in another realm, and they scratch you there, and you can wake up here with that same scratch. Because what happens in one dimension echoes into another, like Roland told you in the Dark Tower movie. So this is what we talking about. There are many dark forces. I mean, they have their own realms, have their own dark. I call it the dark verse or the underverse. And what they just do, they just ride around fucking shit up. And it's not personal. It's just these kind of beings that they are. This is the vibration that they operate on. So this is what they feed off of. They feed off fear. They feed off traumas and blockages. They feed off pain and suffering. They feed off oppression. You see what I'm saying? That's just what they do. So these are the beings. This is what they're about. They're about domination. You see what I'm saying? They about destruction and supremacy. So what's up, Christina? So this is what we talking about. So you got these beings, you got these dark entities who actually go around the planet fucking shit up. You got these, and then you not only do you got entities, they tell you that the powers of the dark world. So not only are you talking about you got entities to deal with in the heavenly realms, you got entities to deal with in the physical, because you got ETs and shit fucking with the planet. Dark influences there from these beings. So these beings know how to masquerade as entities through shape shifting and shit. They know how to masquerade as entities and do their dark work. You see what I'm saying? And destroy the planet. You see what I'm saying? And you got multiple ETs, Dracos, Greys. There's plenty of information out there if you're looking for it, on what they're about and how dangerous they are, and how they don't have humanity's best heart in mind. They don't give a fuck about humanity. Matter of fact, they trying to keep Earth suppressed and oppressed. They don't want Earth to ascend to a higher dimension. You see what I'm saying? So, with that being said, there was put in place, ways to deal with this energy. This way was you had to put on the full armor of God. So let's see what they're talking about here. Therefore, put on the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground. Now, these are Kalip-off teachings here. I told y'all about walking through the magical training ground, dealing with these monstrous beings, these deadly entities, these villains, these dark ones ready to attack you at any given moment. And if you don't stand your ground, they will devour you. But if you do stand your ground, then your force will awaken, it will erupt, and it will destroy these beings with just your raw soul energy alone. And as time go on, as you travel through this magical training ground and air out your haunted house of your subconscious world, not just your mind, but your world, as you go and air out that haunted house, that haunted dark tower, that haunted temple, or whatever, you clean it out and you fight this final boss character, this final dungeon. You deal with this final dungeon, what they call the Valley of the Shadow of Death in the Bible. You deal with this final dungeon and you clean, and usually once you get to the end of that dungeon, you got to fight a final boss character, no different than a video game. And this final boss character is either going to be as strong as you or a little stronger, little more stronger than you, and you got to learn to harness the powers of your monstrous soul. Now, monsters in the clip I'll just basically mean the raw, untapped, and untamed power of that soul that you have yet to harness and utilize properly. So that's what they mean here about stand your ground. And then it goes on to say, and after you have done everything to stand firm then with the belt of truth buckled around your waist, with the breastplate of righteousness in place, and with your feet fitted with the readiness that comes from the gospel of peace. In addition to all this, take up the shield of faith, with which you can extinguish all the flaming arrows of the evil one. Take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, and pray in the Spirit on all occasions with all kinds of prayers and requests. With this in mind, be alert and always keep on praying for all the saints. So they just told you right there. Metaphysically, we know this as Christina is going through the dark shadow of the soul. Yes, dark night of the soul is one aspect, and then you got you actually having to walk through the clip off as well. Just the raw dark realms themselves willingly. The dark soul usually is a cycle of events that you have to go through naturally. But when you deal with the clip off, you have to go there at your own free will. So you usually don't go there. Your soul don't allow you to go there until you're ready. This armor of God that we talking about. What is this armor of God? What is this warrior? These pieces. This is your energy body. This is your soul body. It has different. You have magical armor that you wear. You have magical weapons that you have. You have magical scrolls and spell books that you can use to fight off these entities. You see what I'm saying? So you are not without. You are not without weapons. You are not without skills in this holy war, I guess you would say. You ain't without no skills. You got that enchanted sword. You got that enchanted armor. You got your spell book for your spellcraft. You got your force powers. You know, like Darth Vader, force choking people. You see what I'm saying? Yoda, force pushing people. You see what I'm saying? You got that. You got your soul powers, like Goku shooting energy blast out of his hands. You see what I'm saying? You have those. You have these powers, these psychic abilities that you use to get the job done on your path. This is what it's about. This is the journey of the hero. And when you're in the clip off, the journey of the anti-hero, because down there you're gonna become more raw and uncut, more edgy, more off the chain, more unchained. You see what I'm saying? So this is what we mean by putting on the armor of God. And this is a great reference. If you ever read the Arthurian text, there was a particular knight in this story. I forget his name now. You had Percival, and then you had some other ones. But there was a particular knight in the story, and we just gonna call him James for now because I can't think of his name. Well, James got off the boat. It was a part of his journey where he got off the boat, and when he got off the boat, there were these two vicious, big, nasty looking lions waiting on his ass. They were waiting on him. They was ready for him. So of course, him being a knight, him being a warrior all his life, he whip out his sword, right, ready to fight. But then his inner self said, "Nah, put that sword up. Tap into your God power, tap into your God force, your Jed force." So he folded his arms up and begins to say a chant, to say a prayer. And then all of a sudden, once he unleashed his force, the lions picked up on it. They picked up on his energy and they were like, oh, he do have it. We do feel him now. What's up, little light? We do feel him now. We do feel those force, his force now, his connection to the source, his connection to the creator. So he began to walk past them, and they didn't do nothing. They just looked at him. You see what I'm saying? And the more of that story is, focus on your internal self first, because physical swords break, physical armor wears. Physically you get tired, physically you get exhausted. But when you tap into your internal force, your internal energy, your internal, what the Asians call chi, or life force, or power, or Jed force, or the force, what they call in Star Wars, you begin to unleash seemingly miraculous powers that you never thought you had. So this is what the armor of God is. And interesting enough, I'm going to talk to y'all about how this adversarial energy works. Now, the book of Ephesians is pretty much, for the most part, a good book, right? And I'm going to tell y'all how the adversarial forces corrupted the holy text they corrupted the holy text, so it would turn y'all off of a lot of this information. So you be detoured or thrown off. So check this out. When you from chapter 1 to about halfway through chapter 5, the book of Ephesians just dropped pure fucking wisdom. Andre Demery, that's that Excalibur. Hell yeah, that's Excalibur. Excalibur is the magical sword that represents your Jed, the extension of your Jed power, your Jed force. Them your credentials. When King Arthur pulled the sword, King Arthur was a Jedi, by the way, Jedi in training at the time. When he pulled the sword, he unleashed the sword from the rock, and he unleashed that power. And they actually got a movie out called King Arthur that they released last year. If you ain't got a chance to see it, go check it out. And it talks about his journey of the hero in that movie. So yes, Excalibur is a powerful representation of the manifestation of your Jed power, because it was at first a scepter, which represents your spine, because it was Merlin's scepter, and he transmuted it into the magical enchanted sword, which we know is Excalibur in the story. So check that out. But let me tell you how they corrupted the books. Like I said, from chapter 1 to the latter half of chapter 5 is great information in Ephesians. Ephesians is the truth, right? It'll blow your mind, the wisdom in there, right? But when you get to the latter half of chapter 5, this how they throw you off. This how they detour you. You get to they got the little subtitles up here. You get to slaves and masters. Now automatically that's gonna turn you off, because in our world slaves is a bad thing. You see what I'm saying? Just the energy, just the word. Before we even get to the physical actions of the word slave automatically turns you off. When you see it in normal context like this, then you got slave and masters put together, and then you use to read that. You gotta obey your master who's enslaved you. That's crazy. You see what I'm saying? That's madness. So they put that in there to throw you off. They shut down your consciousness, because from Ephesians chapter 1 on up to that moment, it was great. They give you all that divine wisdom, that occult knowledge, that spiritual awareness, and that knowledge of the Creator, and Jesus Christ is just your soul personified. Just your soul doing work in this physical body, which we know is seen. So you do all that. You do all the reading. Start building up your energy in your heart, the heart fire, the heart's feeding the soul, and things are going great. You see what I'm saying? You loving what you read, you enjoying what you enjoying what you studying until you get to this portion of chapter 5, slaves and masters. Now, to a person that's aware like myself, this throws you off. This throw me off, cause why would you put this in here? This is an unnecessary chapter. This is an unnecessary portion of the chapter. You could have stopped at children and parents. There was no reason to put slaves and masters in here, because this was inputted into this book. You're supposed to stop at children and parents, which is, my bad, not the latter half of chapter 5, but the first half of chapter 6. My bad. So you looking at this and you like, what the fuck? You see what I'm saying? And then this how they really get you. They put that there to throw you off, and usually the average person who knows they looking at, they just close the book, like, I'm done, I'm finished, or it just makes them angry for the rest of the day. This is to throw you off balance. This is to throw your mind, to bring you back out of your metaphysical mind back down to a base consciousness. You see what I'm saying? To knock you out of that metaphysical self. You see what I'm saying? Back down into this base consciousness, and it's as if you never read the first 5 chapters. You see what I'm saying? And then they do it just before you get to the most important aspect of the book, which is the armor of God. So you see how the adversarial force work, those dark forces work. They don't do much. It's the simple things, the little things that they do that'll throw you off. Like distort the readings, distort certain passages in the Bible. They even do it now. Like, they'll mess with your live feed when you talking this information. It's just the little things, just to disrupt the energy, just to disrupt the group cipher. You see what I'm saying? Just to shake everything up. So to get everybody out of that metaphysical mind that they got in while raising their vibrations, listening to my live or studying the holy text or whatever. So this is what we talking about. Now that I talked about that, how about we talk about the Dajjal, which is an Islamic legend. Skip on over here to Islam. Now, the reason why I picked out this particular legend is because it talks about Antichrist, which is what we talking about, knowing our enemy. And as far as we concerned with this Antichrist energy, this particular legend actually gives you a physical description of what the Antichrist looks like. So how about we see what we're talking about here? So it reads here, the Holy Prophet Muhammad told his Muslim brethren that a false Messiah will come and misguide our people. While others haven't been able to put a face on Dajjal, the Holy Prophet gave a very definite description of how Dajjal would look. His description of Dajjal is absolutely clear, unlike any other existing scripture. The Prophet Muhammad called Dajjal al-Awar, the one with the blind one eye. In detail, he said that Dajjal's right eye would be like a floating grape, shaking, not fixed in one position. Dajjal's left eye will also be defective and green in color. The prophet said that Dajjal's complexion would be reddy white, like people from England, North Scotland, or elsewhere. The prophet further said that Dajjal will have a prominent forehead and a wide neck, short in height, but he will be very powerful, even with a hunch in his back. He will walk with his feet apart, not like normal men. The Dajjal will have long and curly hair, so thick that his curly locks would look like snakes hanging from his head, lots of them coiled together. the Dajjal would be sterile. He would not have any children. So there you go. There you go. Now, Muhammad states that it would be a man, but we all know that this is an energy that we talking about. Now, let's start with the basics here. He said that Dajjal basically means deception, and it also means the one that's blind in one eye, right? So, with that being said, Dajjal's right eye, this is a reference to Heru or Horus, right? Because in Heru's story, he in some stories he lost his right eye, in other stories he lost his left eye. But this guy here is pretty much blind in both eyes. He said that Dajjal's right eye would be like a floating grape, shaking, not fixed in one position. So it's blind in that eye, and Dajjal's left eye will also be defective and green in color. And so he blind in that eye too. Now we know anything about Horus, we know that those eyes represent something. The right eye, the solar, represents the solar seat or the pineal gland, which is your masculine consciousness. And then the left eye represents the lunar seat, which is the pituitary gland, which is your feminine consciousness. So automatically we see that he's dead in these areas. Both his pineal gland and his pituitary gland are shut down. Those are your thrones in your mind. Those are the two major thrones that activate everything else in your throne room of God. Because your throne room of God is your crown area. All this here. So when that shut down, then you looking at a deadly individual. You looking at a soulless individual because he ain't got no consciousness. A walking being without consciousness, without soul, who has the power to destroy. You see what I'm saying? It says here also, the prophet said that the Dajjal complexion will be red and white, like people from England or North Scotland. We already know. The prophet further said that the Dajjal would have a prominent forehead and a wide neck, short in height, but he would be very powerful, even with the hunch in his back. So there you go. You talking about like this old sick, dead, pale energy. It's like the pale horse in the Bible. It's just this old, sick, dark energy. This energy of disease, famine, pain, suffering. This energy of the Antichrist, which when we say Antichrist, if Christ represents the soul energy, the Antichrist is the soulless energy. You see what I'm saying? It's the soulless. It's the soulless ones walking around on the planet, because there are multiple that represent this consciousness. So, and this is how you know it's not a normal human. It says here, he will walk with his feet apart, not like normal men. So they tell you right there, this not a normal person. This person here is a very dangerous entity and a very foreign entity to our own world. So cause usually Earth's original incarnation was about magic, love, happiness, joy, truth, balance, and stability, right? Well, this being here, this entity here, this Antichrist energy represents the perversions of all those aspects. Instability, duality, pain, suffering, misery, disease. You see what I'm saying? It represents the culmination, the pretty much the epilogue for this trial of great tribulation. And you seeing it now with the pedophilia, with the bullshit that's going on around the world, the weather, the destructive forces, all that he represents. The Antichrist represents the combination of all the dark and toxic energies on the planet. You see what I'm saying? All the toxic forces on the planet come together as one big mass consciousness to degenerate the world. That's what he represents. Now, let's see here. Dajjal will have long and curly hair, so thick that his locks would look like snakes. Now, this is a reference to Medusa. Hanging from his head, lots of them, and there was lots of them coiled together. The Dajjal would be sterile, which means he won't be able to have kids. He won't have reproductive organs because his energy is foreign to our world. It is not a natural being. It is not a natural energy. You see what I'm saying? And they told you, and the Prophet Muhammad also told you here that it would be a man, not a woman, not a theory, not a nation, or any sort of propaganda. Why did he say it would be a man? Because we are up under a tyrannical, patriarchal system that's being guided by imperialistic principles. So these imperialistic principles have toxified patriarchy. The true patriarchy it made it toxic, impure. That's why it's a man, not a woman, because we're not in a matriarchal society. We're in a patriarchal society that's being guided by imperialistic principles. Think Adolf Hitler and fascism. You see what I'm saying? This is what we're talking about. So it says here that lastly, another hint the prophet gave us about the Dajjal, that he will have the word kafir written between his eyebrows on his forehead. The believers of Allah and Islam will clearly be able to see that word, even if others cannot. And I think kafir means deception. And he says, let us pray that Allah Almighty guides us correctly and gives us enough iman to denounce the Dajjal, that's internal energy, and not cross path with him. So let us pray that Allah always keep us close to Islam and away from all monstrosities, including the Dajjal. So that's what we're talking about. So he tells you here, the believers of Allah and Islam will be able to see this word kafir, which means deception, which means deceit. So what his first eye shut down. It's a corruption of the first eye. It's what they call the evil eye in a lot of ancient texts. Is when he stared at you, his first eye, it just invokes feelings of fear, frustration, anger, and rage, pain and suffering, and it brings up all the painful traumas and blockages that is happening in your life. You see, saying all the painful memories. This is the energy that you see on the planet. That manifests on the planet as when you see the suffering and pain of the people on the planet. You see what I'm saying? You see the degeneration of society all around you. This is what kafir is. The deception is. The illusion is. Everything seems to be falling apart all around you, and you, who is a chosen one, an awakened one, a true and living Jedi / Magi, you can see this with your first eye. How this dark evil eye has been cast all over the world. This shadow, this shade. It's like when Emperor Palpatine took power in Revenge of the Sith. You can feel the darkness taking over, the toxic energy being unleashed all across the galaxy, or in this case, all across Earth. You see what I'm saying? So this is who the Dajjal represent. This is that antichrist, that anti-Messiah, that anti-soulless, the anti-soul or soulless. This is what we're talking about. He is everything that a person with soul is not. A person, because you got people on the planet who have soul, they just asleep, or what we call Gentiles in the Bible. No, we're not talking about them. We're talking about people, archonic beings who don't have souls at all. They're just vessels, or nobodies, as we call them in our group. They just soulless ones. They're just walking around empty and can be possessed by any type of entity because they don't have a soul to protect them. Your soul is what protects you. Your soul is what guides you on your path. And when you don't have a soul journey, you don't have a soul at all, then you just walking around aimlessly. I met a guy the other day, actually. I'll tell y'all one of my stories. I met a guy the other day. He came into my building because I work security. And he just looked lost, I could see the madness in his eyes. You see what I'm saying? And I even said it to him. I was like, you look lost, player. And he just turned and looked into, the sky or whatever and just started laughing. And then I used my psychic senses to peer into his inner self, and I noticed his soul was gone. It was missing. I was like, oh, he's soulless. No wonder he lost. He just walking the earth aimlessly. He just operating off pure arcanic energy. Or if they high level soulless, they harness their spiritual energies, their life energy, their life force, the force in Star Wars. Then they're able to do more things. You see what I'm saying? But in this case, he was he was low level. He was low level. He didn't know nothing about that. So he was pretty much pure arcanic, and we have a dialogue which ain't even worth talking about, and pretty much like this at the end. I had sized him up like I may have to fight him, I may not have to fight him, but let's be prepared just in case. You gotta always walk with awareness. You see what I'm saying? So I sized him up, make sure he ain't had no guns or nothing. All that. I was just being aware of what was going on in the situation, and I noticed he ain't had no weapons or anything. So I knew it was gonna be hand-to-hand combat if I had to fight him. So interesting enough, he just looked up, shook my hand, and said, "You have a good day, sir." And then he stormed out the room, cause you are protected as a chosen one, as a vessel of the Creator, or as a true Jedi Master down here. You see what I'm saying? So he just left, and when he left, he stormed out, and he turned back around me, and I could see nothing but pure madness in his eyes. You see what I'm saying? Cause he wanted to do something like go upstairs at my job and just start ransacking, see can he find any money or whatever. Just arcanic shit, just fucked up shit. But he knew I wasn't gonna allow him to do that. So he just left. He just felt like, alright, I'm fucking with the wrong one. This dude seemed to have a different kind of energy about him. So he leaves. And I learned that, like, okay, so this is what it's like to have what's up, Rashida? This is what it's like to have come face to face with a soulless being who is arcanic in nature, who has already been possessed by arcanic. I seen him when he walked up. Cause I locked eyes with him while I was sitting down in the chair. I was like, there's something wrong with that dude. And the dude just stopped what he was doing. He stopped, turned and came to my door to barge in there. So I was like, okay. I see now that this dude was guided by that arcanic energy to come in here to see what type of chaos he can stir up, what type of dark, toxic force he can stir up. But he wasn't allowed to do that. So he knew we would scrap before he do that. Before he got that in, he felt that energy. My bad, y'all. The connection got disrupted. But for the most part, yeah, he left, and I went back to my day to do this. But this is what we talking about. You have abilities. You have protection. You are protected. You got this. You got these gifts. So use them. You was given your powers for a reason. In the great words of Darth Maul, you was given your powers for a reason. To use them. To protect yourself and your family and your friends. You don't supposed to just have these powers, just let them sit there and not do nothing with them. That you gonna need these on your journey. On your spiritual journey, on your soul journey. So don't be afraid to use your powers when that time comes. When that situation arises, where you have to use your power. They even says it here. Therefore, put on the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground. There you go. So there you go. When and that day of evil ain't got to be some great judgment right now. It could just be something as simple as the situation I just told you about. When that day comes, when that situation arises, that of danger arises, you are prepared, because you have prepared, you have trained, you have studied for this one moment all your life, especially since you have been awoken and came into the information. So yes, with that being said, I'm pretty much done. Y'all have any questions? Well, all right. All right, y'all. My name Marvin Jones, and I'm out. Peace.